I slipped on my leotard, looked at myself in the mirror, and headed out of the changing rooms into the aerobics studio. It was Wednesday and therefore Pax and Tums. The atmosphere was congenial as usual. Bored house husbands like myself took themselves down to the Adonis Health Spa to work on looking good for our wives. As the years rolled on, we became nothing more than trophies for our other halves to display at important functions. We always worked on our bodies for fear of waking up in an empty bed and finding out that wifey has traded up for a younger model. Looking around the studio, I caught a glimpse of some people there. In this class, all bodies were taught underneath a snug, luridly colored lycra outfit. Like myself, most men from an early age had major electrolysis on our bodies to get rid of that unsightly facial and bodily hair. It would not do to turn up at a dinner party with hairs poking over the top of one's low-cut evening dress. This had its benefits: no need to shave ever again. Some poor blokes I've seen on the streets just don't look right with facial hair and a flowery dress. At least I thought that I looked good, and that was without needing to resort to the surgeon's knife. After the session, it was sauna time with my friend Chrissy. A quick shower and change into a two-piece. Chrissy was already inside with two women. I entered the cubicle. Chrissy had the most amazing pecs on a guy, but then he had owed it to silicone. An almost heaving bosom nestled underneath the fabric of his swimsuit. I could see that the two women with him were stealing looks at his chest. "Hi, Chrissy." We kissed and hugged. "How are you?" "Oh, just fine." "Oh, by the way, this is Monica." He introduced me to the woman on his left. "And this is Jane. They're my Sonia's clients over from Ireland." Both were wearing the usual shorts every woman wears nowadays, quite baggy and non-revealing. I noticed a birthmark on Monica's nipple and tried my best to ignore it. Sonia's quite the businesswoman, go-getting entrepreneur. I tried to break the ice. Chrissy is the most amazing husband as well. Oh, Ronnie, you are making me blush. This was hard to see at this temperature. Sonia asked me to entertain them while she was coming back from Birmingham. Chrissy adjusted his swimsuit. Jane gave me that look of "I'm going to have you, bitch" all over her. I love my wife dearly, and I have been a dutiful husband and caring father to our two boys over the years. I thought to myself that I would have to be careful not to give the wrong impression. A man could easily be labeled a slut for cheating on his wife. Chrissy and I gossiped for a while, and eventually the women started talking business. I could see Chrissy's eyes glaze over. He hated business matters, even though it kept him in the most luxurious wardrobe a boy could have from his woman. I thought to say something to keep Chrissy going until the end of the session. "Chrissy, I'm going over to that new boutique this afternoon. Would you like to come with me? There's a new dress I would like to try on. Maybe there's something for you." "Thanks, Ronnie, but I said that I would give Sonia's clients my full attention today until this evening. I'm hosting a dinner party for Sonia's business contacts. I know I could do with a new dress, but time is short. What's a boy to do?" Half an hour later, I was out of the sauna, changed back into my summer dress, and on my way to Leslie's boutique. The new Paris fashions for men were in the window. I walked in. The assistant was a man in his early 20s. He was wearing the latest fad for young men. It was a split skirt/dress that divided just below the armpits and connected every 2 foot by a metal clasp. One could see his body. Just the sight of decent with his black bra and panties, with black pop socks squeezed into ultra-high heels. "Hello, sir, can I help?" Well, I was thinking of cheering myself up with a new dress. "I think we could handle that." With that, he beckoned me further into the store. I looked around at the sumptuous fabrics on offer. Dresses, skirts, and blouses filled the room. Of course, there were no trousers or shorts on sale. Men were no longer allowed to wear such items. I wasn't bothered about that at all. It had been decades since men ruled. I remember as a boy in our history classes at school about all the wars that were allowed to go on year after year until women took over. It was easy enough for myself to cope, as I haven't known any different than wearing dresses and skirts. My father also is in a similar position to me. I'm afraid things were bad for my grandfather. He is quite old and remembers wearing trousers in the last century. He is now in an old people's home but is quite mad as he refuses to wear what the home gives him. He claims that it is not right and men should be able to wear trousers as they used to. I quite like my lifestyle. My 2 boys are growing up and demand the usual things that boys want. Julian wants new dolls all the time and Terry at that stage where he has to have the latest fashions. Though I sometimes wonder if some of the skirts he wears are no bigger than a belt, but he was always one to show off in front of the girls. I talked with the assistant. I do love these dresses. I ran my well-manicured fingers through the material of a satin gown. You should try it on, said the assistant. He led me to the dressing room at the back. I slipped off my silk blouse and unzipped the back of my skirt. It fell to the floor. I picked it up and placed it on the stool. I parted the straps of the gown and walked into the dress. Pulling up the straps, I felt the fine touch of the satin against my body. The dress passed over my silk knickers and past my bra. Slowly, I put an arm underneath each strap and adjusted the dress. It fitted perfectly over my body. The front took account of my enhanced bosom and the rest tightly defined my taut figure. I stepped out of the dressing room. The assistant gave a look of delight. You go, boyfriend, here I'll fetch some accessories. With that he disappeared to come back moments later with some long black gloves and a tiara. I drew the gloves one by one up over my hands and onto my arms, slowly ironing out the wrinkles in the fabric. I took the tiara from the assistant and fixed it on my hair. I turned to look at the shop mirror. I simply couldn't believe myself. The dress transformed me into the beau of the ball. A dazzling royal prince waiting for his dame in shining armor to whisk him away from a life of drudgery and into high society. I love this dress, I exclaimed. It's a must-have, isn't it? Replied the assistant almost with his eyes popping out of their sockets. I handed over my credit card. My wife acts as guarantor for all my card purchases. The assistant folded the dress and gift wrapped it for me. Enjoy, he said as I walked out of the shop. I wandered down the street and hailed a taxi. As it pulled in, I noticed on the side an advert for lingerie. The beautiful young man on a chaise lounge wearing a bra and panties. The slogan read, "Remember your loved one this St. Valentine's, buy him a burly eye." I got into the taxi. The woman asked me where I was heading. I told her to head for my home. On the way back, she started up a conversation. Been shopping, have you, love? My hubby's the same. He's always buying himself clothes. I have to work overtime to keep him in dresses. Mind you, as long as he knows his place. Yes, I agree. A man's place is in the home looking after the children. But you've got to allow us our little trips to the shops. After all, us must keep ourselves pretty. Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't want it any other way. I'm glad I voted for the Freedom Party. I remember as a little girl watching the TV as the law was passed banning votes for men. Oh yeah, that was a great day. My mom said that never again would wars be fought, as men no longer ruled. Things have got a lot better for everyone. I had to agree with her. Men had lost their rights, but this was so that a greater good could be achieved. I paid her the fare and got out of the cab. I walked up to the door of my home. I took the front door keys out of my handbag and opened the door. The washing machine in the kitchen had just finished. I was washing my son's leotards for gym practice, and if I were quick they would be dried and ironed ready for their lesson after school. Just quick once around the place with the vacuum and put my leotard in on a hand wash cycle. My wife Martina would be home quite soon. She had just been promoted at work to senior partner. That meant more prestige for her and a better wardrobe for me. I could afford to hit the town with my boyfriends for a shopping bonanza. I know I shouldn't, but Martina realizes that it's just one of those things us men love. I tell her it is retail therapy and it wouldn't do for the husband of the senior partner to be drab and dowdy. Just then the door opened and I saw the eldest of my two pretty boys waltz in. Terry, who was 13 just a couple of weeks ago, minced in like the king of Sheba. He is a clean lad. Luckily for me, when he arrives home his school uniform looks as crisp as it did when he left this morning. As summer is nearly upon us, the boy's uniform changes from a white blouse, brown pleated skirt, black tights and black court shoes to a checkered summer dress and black sandals. As usual, my Terry kissed his father. He is very affectionate and caring. I am hoping that when he leaves school he will take up a career in nursing. It is a wonderful vocation for a man. And one hopes that he will marry a nice handsome doctor, as only women can become doctors, and men of course nurses. "How was your day, honey?" I asked. "Very tiring, Dad, double domestic science. I made a wonderful chocolate cake. I saved you some as I know you love chocolate." "Thanks, you know we men love our chocolate." "Have the school said anything about your options for next year?" We wandered into the kitchen and I sat Terry down while I made both of us a cup of tea. "Well, Dad, I want to take childcare, biology and domestic science. Deportment and English are compulsory for boys. I would have to take math as well if I do biology, but I find the subject hard. Science goes over most men's heads, dear. Our brains are not wired up for all that stuff. Women do much better in those subjects. I am glad you are taking childcare. It will come in handy when you get married and stay at home to look after your kids." "Dad, that's years away." Terry seemed a little annoyed at my planning his life. "Terry dear. Sorry, I know that's all in the future, but it's a man's role to be a devoted and obedient husband to his woman. We are the weaker sex." "Ooh, that reminds me, Julian and the boys in his year are having their health injections. Could you talk to him and reassure him that it's all okay? Like all men when they are boys of 10, by law, must have health injections. This serves a number of purposes. Firstly, this provides a man with the essential minerals that are lacking in most people's diet throughout their lives. Secondly, and most importantly, the injection has properties that keep men under control and weaker than women. It would not be right in society if men were stronger than women were. Women should be in control as they are the superior sex. Yes, Dad, the injection is very important." Terry understood that this was another important rite of passage along with a boy's first bra. "I have got Julian's and your leotards for gym practice dry in the airing cupboard. Your mom is picking up Julian from school and should be home soon. Can you be a sweet and get both of you ready? We don't want to keep your mom waiting." "Dad, it's a man's prerogative to be a little late." Terry was learning to be a man fast. "Which leotard did you wash for me?" I hope it's my favorite one. The purple velvet one with the red heart motif? Yes, darling, how could I forget? The sound of a key turning in the front door lock heralded the arrival of my wife and younger son. Julian skipped in wearing a fairy outfit. Behind him Martina walked in. She had her pinstriped suit on with the tie I got for her last Christmas. There is always something about a woman wearing a crisp suit and tie that looks so good. It's only natural for a woman to be dressed that way. How's my pretty little prince? I swung my arms around Julian and kissed his cheeks. I noticed some play makeup on his face. Hello, Daddy, we did acting today and all us boys got to be fairies and all the girls had to be horrible monsters. Then Emily was dressed in tin foil and pretended to be a dame in shining armor and she rescued all the fairies, then she kissed us. Is Emily your new girlfriend? I ventured a risky question. No, Julian whined. All girls smell and they're horrible and they pull some of the boys' pigtails. Never mind. Now you two get ready quickly for gym classes. Don't keep you mother waiting. I hurried the boys upstairs. I turned to my wife. Mart. How was your day? You look tired? Ronnie dear, you wouldn't believe the day I've had. This morning the girls and I was due to play golf this morning with the chief partner, you know, Imelda. Well, one of our big clients got hit with a massive lawsuit, so the golf got canned and we all had to be back at the office to sort out some strategies. Plus we've just taken on some new lawyer and she thinks she's God gift. Emma's her name, she's already hit on one of the secretaries, Marky. She will have trouble with him. Marky was already engaged to a prison warden called Stella. I think if Stella found out that someone was hitting on her boy, she'd be around there like a shot and sort the woman out there and then. Soon the boys came back downstairs wearing their leotards. Terry was wearing his purple leotard and Julian was wearing a shocking pink leotard with matching tights. Have fun, boys. I waved them off as Martina pulled out of the driveway and sped off down the hill. I felt so lucky to have two pretty boys and a handsome and intelligent woman for a wife. Now that I was alone again, I could get on with my chores as a house husband. I know a lot of men complain about housework, but as I see it, it defines what a man is. He is the little laddie of the house and it is a duty to keep a house spotless for his wife and family. I walked back into my kitchen and started to prepare dinner, steak au poivre. I got the recipe from a boyfriend at a coffee morning organized by the local church for us men to get together and have a natter. The new vicar has been with us for 2 weeks now and the boys get giggly when they see her. The Reverend Allison Sprackley had been a missionary to Africa and instrumental over here with the New People's Church. She is also single and very attractive. I keep telling Jerry, my singleton boyfriend, that he should make himself available to help her with the church. I drop hints that a vicar's husband is a very desirable thing to be. Although my brother Roger would be a fine catch as well. He works as a secretary for an oil company in the city. Good job we have arranged to lunch tomorrow. I started early enough in the morning, slipping on a red blouse and black skirt. I prepared the children's and wife's breakfast. Julian was first down to the table. Today was the first day in his school's summer dress. It was quite a warm day, so he didn't wear any tights. His sandals exposed his newly painted nails. The rich red color went well with the pink check of his dress. Terry also bounded down the stairs in his green checkered dress of his primary school. Hello, my pretty little prince, I gave him a big hug. I love you, Daddy. I was touched by all this. Martina was last to join the table. She wore her gray pinstriped suit and the crisp, white shirt I ironed for her. Her necktie was the very sober blue one she got from the firm last year. Today was going to be a big day. Morning, darling. We kissed and she gave me a small pat on the behind. Not in front of the children. Can't I kiss my own beautiful husband on a day like this? Yes, you can, but keep you roving hands to yourself. Mom, I'm eating breakfast, remarked Jules. He adjusted the Allen band in his hair. Martina, I am going swimming this morning, then I'm off to meet my brother for lunch. Roger, eh? How is the foxy babe? Martina had a soft spot for him, but I knew it was harmless. I got the feeling she was trying to deflect attention away from whatever was in her head. He's fine. Still filing, taking letters, and arranging business trips. His boss should take him as well. He'd be useful alongside them, just like his brother. Martina made reference to how we met. I was a young boy just starting in his first job in the typing pool. She was just out of college and raring to make an impression on his firm. I managed to catch his eye, and before long, I was his new secretary. I remember those frighteningly short skirts you used to wear at work, Ronnie dear. And in the summer, you was an absolute picture in that floral concoction. Please, baby, you'll make the children sick. Terry was making the sign of putting his fingers down his throat. Now everybody, we'd better get you off to where you want to go. I'll drop you off at the station, dear, and the kids to school. After dropping the kids at school and giving them both a parting kiss, I dropped wifey off at the station. I watched she joined her fellow commuters on the station. I felt a little sorry for her and the other women in their suits when all the men were dressed in light summer dresses and short skirts. They are a lot cooler when the weather is hot. I drove on to the pool. Having found an easy spot to park at, I got out of the car and strolled over to the entrance of the pool. It was men-only morning there, so ogling women wouldn't distract us. As I was a regular swimmer there, I would see quite a few men I know from there. Maddie and Dammy came just about 2 minutes before me and were already changed into their swimsuits. Maddie wore his black and gray Speedo racerback suit. The leg was very high cut, but he was an adept swimmer. Dammy was less able and swam to keep in tone. His swimsuit was more really for relaxing in. It was a blue and green floral patterned suit with a low scoop back. Quite masculine. I changed into my sporty red swimsuit, did the zipper up at the back, put my swimming cap on, and proceeded to the pool. All the lanes were quite full. The elder men were in the slower lanes taking it easy. Most had the old-style swim caps with plastic flowers adoring them. I noticed Reggie. He was the same age as my father and an old friend of his. They played bowls together on Fridays. He was wearing a very lurid flowery swimsuit with a scoop back. I didn't like that swimsuit, but it's what the old dears wear, and I suppose when I am older I'd be wearing similar. I entered the pool and put my head under the water to acclimatize myself. The water poured through my suit and made it cling to my chest. I always loved that feeling. After about 40 lengths, I was starting to get tired. I edged out of the pool and made my way back to the changing rooms. Again, just ahead of me was Maddie. I thought I'd better say hello. He greeted me. Ronnie, love that swimsuit of yours. Where did you get it? Oh, that new department store in town, G.H. Denny's. There was so much to choose from, I almost didn't buy anything. That's not like you, Maddie retorted slyly. He was drying himself off and put his knickers on. Not like me at all, I said in a faux condescending way. I had my knickers on and was struggling with my bra. Dear, let me help. Maddie clipped up the back of the bra. How's your brother? Roger? Funnily, I am meeting him for lunch. Would you like to come along? Oh, any other time darling, but I have to get home and help my father run up some dresses for my nephew's birthday party. I said I'd help. Never mind. How old is your nephew going to be? My head popped through my blouse, buttons were done up. I started putting my tights on. 10, Dad wanted to make a nice dress for him to wear on the day. I thought it would be wise to make sure it is a bit up to date, else there will be trouble. Maddie put his but sleeveless denim dress over his head and did the buttons up on the front. Boys of today. We were never like that, were we? I readjusted the plaster on the back of my heel and put my court shoes on. We were, if not worse. I remember the rows with my mom about putting on makeup. Did she put on makeup? I hazarded a question. Don't be disgusting, I know you're only joking. Indeed I was. Women never wore makeup, and that was the sole domain of us men. I continued chatting with Maddie a bit longer while I put my face on. I made sure that I was smart and presentable. The restaurant I was going to was a bit swanky, and it wouldn't do for a man to turn up there not looking like $1 million, or at least 1,000. I adjusted my skirt and headed back to the car. Once parked up, I got out of the car and headed across the road. Nearby, a gang of construction work women were giving me the eye. I ignored the shouts of "all right, darling" and the like. It's something you get used to when you a good-looking man. Once inside the restaurant I saw Roger. He was wearing his cerise-colored skirt suit with a cream-colored blouse. His shapely legs were encased in glossy tan tights that ended with powder blue silk sandals. We greeted each other with a kiss on both cheeks. Hello, Roger, you are looking so well. I cooed. My darling brother, you are looking pretty today. That red lipstick looks really good. We sat and ordered each a glass of Chardonnay. We talked about the usual boy stuff. Fashion, and babies, etc. Roger was pleased to hear that Terry had won a place on his school's netball team. I always thought Terry to be a tennis boy. Have you got him the right kit? Oh yes, the school has provided him with the standard leotard and skirt. How is Martina, still with the law firm? Oh yes, she's been made a senior partner. I bought her a new tie to celebrate. We are thinking about going to France for the weekend. Now I am jealous, love. If only I could get myself a woman to take me always from this drudgery. The waiter brought our food to us, but not before spilling some soup over his black skirt. Luckily, neither of us managed to get stains on our outfits. I looked around at the restaurants. It was full of businesswomen having power lunches and ladies like myself and Roger lunching but hardly eating a thing. We both ordered salad to keep an eye on our figures. Roger looked so good in his skirt and there was hardly a ounce of fat on his legs. I too managed to keep my figure in trim. It was so vital for men to keep themselves looking good for their wives to admire. I love my life here and I am grateful that things are the way they are. After lunch, Roger still had a little time before going back to the office to peruse the shops. In town things are a little better and the range of shops are astounding. I love being a man. There are so many clothes shops that cater for us. We had a good look around and I almost bought a green silk skirt, but I didn't anything to go with it. When I told Roger about swimming, it reminded him that he needed a new swimsuit for a holiday he was planning with some boyfriends to the Canary Islands. I remembered when Martina and I went there before the children were born. She had quite a muscular body then and she looked good in her swim shorts. I recalled wearing a bright pink swimsuit on that holiday, but I doubt it would be the fashion nowadays. Roger had to go back to the office before his boss got back from her golf game. He had a lot of typing and filing to catch up on and didn't want to work late again. He couldn't face being a single man going home on the train. Usually his boss paid for taxi home when late working was required. The streets are not safe for men on their own. We kissed each other goodbye and I headed home so I could prepare dinner for my lovely family. A man's work is never finished.